A lot, yeah, I've been up to a lot. Yeah, I've been doing a lot with music lately. Kind of shift gears. I think I wrote you about that. Kind of
Yes.
told we're shifting gears just a little bit for a time. So I'm excited about that. I think it's actually going to be it's going to be really good. I'm putting a lot more time and effort into producing YouTube videos and kind of getting that up and running. EP out, got another one coming out hopefully in 2 months.
Okay.
So just kind of trying to build up, build up a base to really kind of launch from, and then from there, we'll see what we can do. I'd love to eventually sign, but we'll see.
Yeah. Just tell me about Oil and Rubble, I guess. I want to hear like your inspirations behind it and like if there's any theme throughout your songs and things like that. Like how
Yeah,
you decide to pick the songs because I knew you did the cover of Wicked Game before. I think I don't know if I heard it on YouTube or something. I don't know where you had it before, but I heard a video and I was like, "Oh my god, I love this." And then you put it on that. So I was really happy to hear that too.
awesome. Yeah. Well, I spent a lot of time really kind of thinking about what I wanted my sound to be,
Yeah.
and I worked with a lot of other musicians prior, and I kind of had that whole too many cooks in the kitchen thing happening, where there was a lot of really good ideas, but I just felt like I had a hard time really deciphering what my sound was from all that, differentiating what my sound was from what these other really good sounds were coming out. I had a bass player, a percussionist, a keyboardist, all these different guys, and they were just terrific. But it was just a little too much. So I stripped it all down. I built a studio in my house, which I'm in right now, actually. And yeah, we basically just went to town. Myself, and I did have one other kind of collaborator, a pianist from Boulder, Colorado, and he played on "Mourn for You." That kind of real pounding, charging piano. That was him because I can't do that at all. That was the only collab song, and then really the rest was all just me in the studio, and it was a lot of fun that way because I was able to really have, I think, a more concise sound. I wanted to go electronic with it, but I also wanted to really keep remnants of I guess, kind of my upbringing with a lot more guitar, ambient sounds, some organic sounds in there as well. And the theme of the album is really, I think, probably like distress and working through that distress. The title "Oil and Rubble" is really to kind of show like the dichotomy that you have of two very different things, that I think are pretty relevant today, like with wars going on and all that kind of stuff. That you have oil can be used for good and bad. It lights our cities, and it also is a big reason for a lot of the wars that are taking place. And rubble's that aftermath, but it also is sometimes necessary. You have to deconstruct in order to reconstruct. So that's kind of the idea behind the whole thing.
And I meant to ask you, I love the cover art. Who does your cover art for your albums? I love them all the
Yeah,
time.
Conrad Hughes. He's the guy who designed my website.
Okay.
He's out of the UK. He's a just bloody talented Brit, and I've been working with him for about 2 years now, almost. Gosh, I think maybe it's a year and a half. He helped me a lot with the Pencils of Promise stuff in the
Yeah.
first go with all that, which was a lot of work on his end because it kind of never been done before. Of really trying to create a totally different payment system. So he did all of that, and then I just said, "Hey, do you do graphic design?" He's like, "Yeah." So I gave him a little idea, and he just ran with it. So I'm glad you liked it.
And so,
So
how has everything been like stepping away from Pencils of Promise and just working on your own stuff? How's
yeah,
that been going?
it's actually been really really good, and I think it's allowed me to kind of clear my head just a little bit, and refocus on why I'm doing it in the first place. I think the Pencils of Promise is something that I really want to get back to when I have a better platform to really make a bigger difference, a bigger impact. We still raised a decent amount of money, about 3,000,
Oh wow, that's great.
which is cool. But I think if I can get a larger following and then promote to them that way, I think it'd be a really cool way to go about it.
And what would
So
you say like your biggest challenge has been with this album or in general lately
yeah,
with your music?
that's a great question. Um, I think the most specific issue that I've had was just the learning curve of learning how to produce your own stuff. because I've always relied on studios, and so it really gave me an appreciation for what they're able to do and how well they can do it. Aside from that, the other challenge is just it's just really kind of keeping the vibe high because when you're starting out, I mean, as you know, like it's a dog eat dog kind of industry, and there's so many clamoring voices trying to be heard, and I think you just have to keep getting back to why am I doing this? Do I love doing it, or am I trying to get like attention from it? And so yeah, just keep your mindset right. It's not so much about where you're going, but it's who you become getting there. And if you can really enjoy the pressure and how that like pressure cooker makes you a better person and like increases your faith and increases your hope and all of those things, then it's great. Even the hard parts are good.
Do you have any plans for any music videos for your new songs?
I've had a few people
Yeah.
ask me already. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have. I'd love to. I'd really love to. I'd say it's a bit on the back burner right now, just from the
Yeah.
standpoint of wanting to get more like organic YouTube videos up with covers and things. But I do have a lot of requests for Mourn for You
Okay. Yeah, I would pick
and
that too.
and Wicked Game. And
Okay.
I love film, as you know. I love doing that side of things. I think the production side and directing is just so much fun for me. So yes, they're definitely going to be happening. We'll probably get to at least one before the year's up. Yeah, that was that was a really fun song to do. I wrote it 2 years ago,
Okay. And you've been
and
hiding it from us.
I have been. That's right. Yeah, so I wrote it 2 years ago, and it was really it was meant to be a theme song for the latest Batman versus Superman movie.
Okay.
'Cause it's written, the lyrics are all about Superman basically, and just his like struggle with humanity to like really see him as good and not this just you know call it when you need kind of character. And so I wrote it for that purpose. I was like, oh, man, I just need to get a hold of Zack Snyder, find that guy, and then give it to him. And I think when I was making the rest of the album, I kind of lost sight of that a little bit and thought, maybe that's pushing it too far. But it was a lot of fun to like think of what I would do for a music video in my head while writing the song. That's kind of where it got its wheels, I think. So,
All right. So I have one more question, or two
all
more
right,
questions actually.
shoot.
This one's about your video project because I was really interested in it, and I saw your YouTube video of the Justin Bieber song, which at first I was listening to, and I was like, "Wait, I can't like even hear Justin Bieber in here." That's why I loved it so much. I couldn't hear like any part of like him singing it, so it was perfect because I don't like that
Cool,
song very
cool.
much. But yeah, so tell me about that. Like, what kind of songs are you planning on doing? If you
Yeah.
want to reveal any of them.
So I will tell you, yeah. So the next one that I want to do is "Friends" is the one that just came out,
Okay.
featuring Kanye and Bon Iver by
Okay.
Francis and the Lights.
Um,
I think it's a really fun song. It's obviously very trendy. It just came out yesterday, I think, actually. So I like to tackle that one, and then I want to kind of dial it back a little bit to do a version. I've always wanted to do a version of "Fast Car" by Tracy Chapman.
okay.
So I think those two are the ones that I'm kind of working on right now. In terms of just the videos, I really want to do. I don't know. I've been looking at a lot of artists and the way they kind of do things, and I think there's really good pieces to take away. But so many covers, I think artists get lost because they don't have their own voice, and it's kind of like what you see on The Voice or American Idol when it was going. Is you get kind of trapped in just doing someone else's stuff that you never actually
Mm-hmm.
create your own. And especially with Justin Bieber's "Love Yourself," I like looked and looked and looked, and I didn't find any like really truly different like takes on it.
Yeah.
Some people sound exactly like him, and which is great. Like, he's got a great voice, and they had good voices, but it just wasn't for me. So I want to take a completely different approach. Like, I want to really put my spin on everything, and also tell my story. Like, just kind of tell like what it's been like transitioning from dentistry and hopefully inspire some people. A lot of people live their lives, I think, doing things they just hate, they don't want to be doing, and it's not easy to go from a profession like mine where you could very easily be fine financially for the rest of your life, but also maybe hate it. So
Yeah.
So yeah,
And you
that's what's
told me you were transitioning a bit away from dentistry. Like, how is that?
yeah.
Do you miss like doing it so often, or are you happy with doing the music more?
That's a good question. I don't miss it at all.
Okay.
Don't. What I miss, I actually end up I actually do. So I always I always enjoyed doing aesthetic cases. So making people's teeth beautiful like yours are. I really like taking people's smiles and making them just enormously different. And so I still do those cases. Um, and I do probably 2 a month, but I'm literally working 2 to 3 days a month in that, as opposed to 20. So the other 17 days that I would have been doing other stuff, I don't miss in the slightest. It just wasn't for me. This is far more entertaining. I love creating. So yeah,
Okay, so now back to the video thing. I got off track.
I do it.
Yeah, you said you were doing the videos like based on like how you started out in music and like songs that you like
Yeah,
listened to.
yeah.
So tell me a bit about how that's gonna work. You're just gonna pick like songs that you listened to before,
Yeah,
or
so I'm kind of playing around with the idea, and it'd be interesting. What I want to kind of do is the original idea was to have a YouTube series in a sense called Origins, and in Origins, I'd basically walk through my life almost like by year and pick a song that like really touched me at that point in time. So, I remember being 3.5 years old and listening to With or Without You by U2 and just loving it. I mean, just loving it. And then growing up, kind of coming back to it and just being like, man, that's such a brilliant song. And I love Bono. He's like one of my heroes. So I think going through those and really having a piece of the video where this is a song and this is why it meant so much to me, and talk a little bit about the band and like kind of what they do, and have that be just like a quick like 30-second 1 minute piece of it, but then play these songs in my way for each year that I've been alive, basically. And I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think it'd be a ton of fun just to kind of see how the music kind of progressed and where it got to me, how it got me here. I was going to ask you before we got off. I was like, if you could hear one song,
okay.
you could hear me cover one song, what would you want?
Ooh, I will think about it and I will tell you. I'll find
Yeah,
one.
good, good. I know I put you on the spot, right? You're like,
Yeah, I can't think of any songs when someone asks me.
no songs.
Yeah, I
Oh
don't
my
know anything now.
Yeah, I want to do. I mean, it really kind of. I think you need to have like all three. You need to have some current
Mm-hmm.
songs that are trending, so that people can truly like actually grab onto your stuff. It's a little easier to find. You need to be doing songs that people actually request, and then I do feel a passion to do this one too. So
Yeah.
how the all three work out, I don't know. I'm gonna have to find out.
So my last question is just like general. It's what's next for you after like this conversation, after your next EP that you're planning? Like, do you plan to perform live or anything like that? I think I've asked you before, but you
Yeah,
told me not so much at the time. So I don't know
yeah. I
if
mean, I think
that's
that's
changed.
changed.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a fantastic question. It has. It's changed for me a little bit, just because I think it's a little more grounded now, and like how it's done. I still don't want to do bar to bar kind of thing,
Yeah.
mostly because I mean, in being in the industry and really looking at it, and also coming from from a businessman's perspective of having my own business for several years in a totally different field, you want to do what has the most bang for the buck. And I think a lot of people would just perform in bars because they think that's like what you do, like
Yeah.
that's how you get noticed. And I don't think it's a very good use of your time, personally. Um, you
I
know,
agree.
I just don't. I think that you can do, especially with technology today. There's so many other ways of doing it. So
Yeah.
I plan on doing some live Facebook videos and performances that way. And I might be even running like a contest where you have whoever the winner is. Like I actually perform like a concert for them digitally. Those are a couple of like the digital ideas. I do want to start looking at putting together enough music. So after the second EP, I think I'll have enough to have a really good set list,
Yeah.
and then I can start to open for people that I really like, that I think would be a lot of fun to do that for.
If you could pick an artist to open for anyone, what would you pick?
Ooh, gosh. Any artist.
Any artist.
Man, that is a great question. It's a very good question. I think I if there's no boundaries to this,
No.
and I can go as crazy as I
Yeah,
want.
anything.
I just think in terms of this can sound bizarre, but I'd like to open for Kanye.
Okay.
And that sounds bizarre because I think he's such a controversial figure, um, as he should be. But I actually think that as an artist and a producer, he sees talent in people where other people don't, and he sees things in art that other people don't. And I have a lot of respect for him for that, actually. So even though our styles are very different, I think that there's something like even just the deal he did with Francis and the Lights just
Hmm.
now. Like there's something about it where I feel like he's very smart about how he positions himself, and crowds they get mad for him. So I think it'd be a fun, high energetic place to open for.